Okay, I think we should be live. Give me a thumbs up if you make sure I'm live. Okay, so volume good? Okay. Okay, I'm starting to see people joining, so welcome. Welcome to the super showcase, guys. We're honestly super excited for this. We've been wanting to do this for the longest time now, and I've always tell people when I talk to them privately that 2022, you know, it's the year for us to really lay down the groundwork for a lot of stuff that we want to build. But 2023 is really when, to me, right, most of the, or I guess a lot of. Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties, but we're back. So as I said, today we're gonna spend probably around 30 minutes talking about, or actually demoing the SuperBull Beta2 app. But other than that, we also have some really good giveaways that we're gonna do. And then at the very end, I want to talk about, I guess, our company or project vision for at least 2023. Because I've been telling people this, we see SuperBull as a startup. We want to take this full time. The goal is really, it's not like a 1 year, 2 years project. We want to make this a 5+ years thing, that the ultimate goal is to really work on this. This is really, living the dream here. And yeah, so let me just quickly talk about some of the agendas. I think, Rich, have you pinned the...
Yep.
Okay. So we have this alley list giveaway that's going on. I think Richard pinned the URL. All you have to do is really interact with that tweet, and then halfway through the demo, we'll be drawing a winner. And then at the very end of the demo, we'll also be doing 2 more giveaways, and those 2 will be taking place in our Discord. So I'll probably mention this again, but what you can do to participate in the very last 2 giveaway is head on over to our Discord. Do we have the link ready?
Yep.
Okay, so head on to the Discord, go to General, just type showcase in all caps, and then at the end we'll probably be, we'll take all the names, do a raffle, and then the winner will get an alley list, and another winner will get a free horny. So make sure you do that. But yeah, I think most of you can hopefully see my screen. We had bumped into some technical issues earlier. This is basically Beta 2. Before I even go into showcasing the actual app, I just, as a really quick recap, I want to talk about the project, the team, and our vision for what the app is. So a lot of you guys knew we were called the Hornies before. We started this honestly so long ago. It's back in the summer of 2021, I think. And if you guys remember back then, we were called the Hornies NFT. We sort of made the decision to do a rebrand about maybe 5 months ago to go from Hornies NFT to SuperBull. But the idea of the SuperBull app, or I guess this word SuperBull, has from the very beginning been a thing that our community knew from the beginning. They knew that it's the app that we want to build. It's the digital sporting platform for NFTs that we've been wanting to build. And we sort of feel like it makes sense in terms of a company and project perspective to rebrand the company, rebrand the project from Hornies to SuperBull to position us better in the gamification area of NFTs. And also it's just easier to talk to other companies using the word SuperBull versus Hornies, as one might expect. So yeah, so that's how we started. As for the team, we are honestly just a group of engineers that really like to build products. We started this back when we were in the last year of our university. We were studying computer, and since we've been working together for more than 5 years, side projects, university projects, we knew that we gel really well and have always wanted to start something together. So I have been in Cardano for more than 2.5 years now. It's the blockchain that I love the most. The philosophy, the way that it's built, slow, steady, and methodical, I just resonated with that. And so I convinced my co-founders, Rich and Kimmy, to join me on this venture. And so we wanted to build a game. So what exactly is SuperBull, you might be wondering. Imagine fantasy sports, because it really is inspired by that industry. I'm a big fantasy sports player. A lot of our people in our community are big fantasy sports player. Shout out to Papa Joe. And so fantasy sports is the idea that you are not the athlete, but you can do your research. Somehow you can, through either trial and error or just through pure luck, you can pick an athlete. However he or she performs in real life, you can get rewarded from that. And that idea really, I wanted to bring that into NFTs. In Web3, it's all about ownership. And so we just thought to ourselves, it would be pretty cool if, imagine that you own an NFT, right? You own a horny. And if you can use that horny to compete with other people, and however your horny performs, you can get rewarded for it. If it does well, you get rewarded. If it does really badly, you lose, right? And that idea has always been the thing that we wanted to do. If you go back to our very first video highlighting our vision, it's the one thing that we've been working towards. We've never really pivoted. We've gone through so many metas in NFTs, but I'm really proud to say that we've never really pivoted. And now we're ready to show like each incremental progress, and hope you guys will enjoy. So let me refresh the page real quick. Rich, is this playing? Okay. Refresh the page. So the page that you see right here, me moving my mouse, this is basically beta 2. There's a reason why it's still called beta 2 and not the fully fledged SuperBull app. I'll get to that in a bit. But before I even go to beta 2, I just want to go back to, for those people that don't know, this is beta 1. This is the site that we wrote so long ago. I forgot how long, but I remember when we were doing the yearly recap, the site has been going on for more than 50 weeks. We're probably marching into our 60-something weeks now. And it's nothing close to our vision of what the SuperBull app is. But at the time, if anybody remember, 2021, there wasn't really a notion of utility. And so our passion is really utility. We're not artists, we're builders, and we wanted to provide people at least our vision of what you can do with the NFT. And so what you can do in beta 1, as you can see, as I said, right, SuperBull concept is you have your bull, you can use your bull to compete with other bulls, and then however your bull does, you can get rewarded. In beta 1, it's super simple. We have a bunch of different rooms, and each day our community members who hold a horny can come here to enter their bulls, and then at the end of the day, each room will get simulated, the result will show, and then whichever horny won will get accumulated some points, and then at the end of the week we give out prizes. So the way that each room or simulation works in beta 1 is purely RNG. Everybody has the same chance of winning, so it's, as I said, right, it's nothing close to our end vision, but it's really just a proof of concept. The only thing I want to highlight in beta 1, and just something to add here, we've actually laid out the plan to our community about sunsetting this site. So I think in a week you won't be seeing beta 1 anymore. And thank God, I've been wanting to sunset this site for the longest time now because beta 2 is just so much better. But yeah, beta 1, the only thing I want to highlight is the idea of stats. So as I said, right, the core idea for SuperBull is the ability to use your horny to compete with other people. And in order for that competition to happen, we knew from the beginning that each hornies need to have their associated, unique stats tied to them. So we did spend a ton of time. My co-founder Richard was the one that came up with the algorithm to translate metadata into really good balanced stats. And about 4 months ago, we finally released it. So to me, I've always tell people, releasing stats really marked the true gamification phase of my project. And so the only thing I want to highlight here is just know that at this stage, each horny have their own associated stats and what's next. So I mentioned the quote-unquote Cardano way, which is slow and steady, making sure that each phase of the project is logical, makes sense. And so we sort of ask ourselves, because we knew that stats is super important, it's an in-game data, so it's not on chain yet, at least not now. We might have plans for the future to do that, but for now, for the sake of simplicity and just building an app, we decided to make it off-chain. But because it's so important, we want people to be able to do their buying and selling, or just do their research when they try to shop a horny, based around stats. And I've talked to JPEG Store, I've talked to Flipper, I've talked to MMaker. We all have a relationship with them, and one of the stuff that I do see as a trend is a lot of gamification project will eventually need to have either a customized page where the buying and selling, can be tied to in-game data, such as the levels and stuff. But since this is not something that's out there yet, we decided to make one ourselves. So let me go to the next tab. Here. So we spent about 4 months creating this site called the SuperBull Store. It's a dedicated marketplace solely for our project. And the one thing that you need to know is finally there's a place that you can do your shopping, do your buying, selling, do your research based on stats. So as you see here, right, I can see the top 3 stats of a horny. I can even toggle on sale. I can sort by, say I might be missing someone that has really high power in my team. I can toggle by power. And then if I do see one I want to buy, this baseball horny, for example, clicking into them, I can even see more details, such as the exact stats. I can see metadata attributes. But something pretty cool in this SuperBull store is you can even add it to a compare list. And this basically allows you to, before you decide on the purchase, you can do a lot of research. So to us, it's like the technology behind NFT is one thing, but it's more interesting to like how can we package as much gamification experience as possible around the NFTs. And we're hoping that SuperBull store and SuperBull app can be that. And then if you do want to make a purchase, you can just go to JPEG store. That's where people prefer to do their buying and selling. We do have plans to actually integrate with smart contracts in the future, but that'll probably be maybe Q2 or Q3 of 2023, because the focus right now is still the Beta 2 app. So yeah, what's next? Just thinking logically, right? We introduce stats. And then we introduce a platform for people to buy and sell and do their research around stats. So now they can finally assemble a team. Then it's finally be able to play. So let me go to the SuperBull Beta 2 app. Here it is. Let me refresh it real quick. Yeah, I don't think we've never really shown this to the public yet. We do attach some screenshots here and there when we go on Twitter Spaces, but yeah, this is it. SuperBull Beta 2. Beta 2, honestly, it's so much closer to my end vision. The only thing that's keeping it from, going into like the fully fledged app is just with token integrations. We have plans and we've been talking to partners and, people that we have a relationship with to integrate tokens, integrate smart contracts. But for now, in order to roll out a MVP, we decided to have a Beta 2 in the middle. But yeah, the front page, the landing page, you can see the collections. Let me go to the Hornies page real quick. I'll talk about the Oxys probably at the end. But yeah, the Hornies collection page, you can see all of the Hornies. You can view them in store. You can even sort by stats, etc. So just a really neat place for people to, I guess, do even more research if they want. But the more important part is the SuperBull page. Let me go to that. So this is the SuperBull page. Beta 2 is an account-based application. It's about account-based platform. So each user, let me log in real quick actually. I set up a demo account. So demo@gmail.com. Okay, nice. Got the password correct. So the reason why we have it as a account-based system is it really gives us a lot more flexibility when it comes to stuff such as in-game currencies, user inventories, user items, and just all that good stuff that's attached to an account. And even like adding friends, in the future we might be able to trade in-game items and stuff like that based on accounts. And so this is the front page. This is the home page when somebody logs in or when they sign up for the account. As you can see, I have my testing account. Joe123 is the username. Something I want to highlight as well is on the top right, you can see diamonds and gold. So Beta 2 runs on in-game currencies, Super Gold and Super Diamond. And also a reason why we want Beta 2 is because eventually, right, as I said, we want this to be integrated with tokens. So We have a plan for Horn token. We have plans for to have this run on ADA, but to me, I personally see tokens or project tokens, Horn token for example, it's such a double-edged sword that we want to be super cautious when it comes to the use case, when it comes to like your utility and how can we fit them into the Super ecosystem. So Beta 2 really gives us that flexibility to do a lot of testing, making sure Horn token has a place. Because I would argue that we're the type of team that if we can make the argument that Horn token might not be needed, we can maybe just use an in-game point system, then we probably wouldn't even roll it out. And so again, Beta 2 really gives us that playground essentially. As for Diamond, imagine this, our ultimate goal is really to have it run on some form of tokens, right? Hopefully ADA, and so people will be able to really, utilize, when I talk about diamonds here, you can imagine ADA, and that's going to be our goal towards like the fully fledged SuperBull app. But yeah, I'm gonna sort of mimic somebody that just signed up. So let me disconnect my wallet real quick. When a new project, when a new user sign up on the SuperBull Beta 2 site, this is the page that they'll be taken to. This is a wallet connection page. And as I said, because SuperBull Beta 2 is a account-based system, account-based application, my Joe123 account needs to know all the playable characters that I can play with, right? So in order for us to do that, we design a way for the browser to look at your browser extension wallet. So in this case, it says a Nami wallet detected. What I can do is I can link this wallet. So imagine linking just means my Joe123 account now is tied to this specific wallet. And what we can do is nobody else can connect to this wallet, and the backend, the system can query the blockchain, verify all the playable characters that Joe123 owns. So let me do that. Connect. Let's go. Okay, so once it's linked, we've already queried the blockchain, so you can see I have 30 hornies and some other NFTs as well. I will get to all the other NFTs at the very end. This is when I talk about the SuperBull League, but for now, just gonna use the hornies, our core Genesis collection as the demo example. So at this stage, all you need to know is Joe123 has 30 playable hornies that he can use. And what I can do is I can go to the bullpen. Again, ignore the other projects. I'll get to them at the end, but like for those that have been to like spaces that I'm in, you probably already know what I'm gonna talk about. But for now, let's use the hornies page as a demo. Bullpen. Bullpen is, think about it as in like all the mobile games or in any games, there's always that one page where you can see the like all of your playable characters in one page, right? So that's the bullpen. What you can do is you can even click on your hornies. You can see the stats and just some logistics for this specific horny. In this case, you can see the total number of winnings. So 297 super diamond, the diamond over here. But imagine this when we run on the actual tokens, right? The winnings might represent ADA, for example, and that's when you can see which hornies is really good when it comes to which sports, and that's when you can determine the value of the hornies. You can even see the win rate, place rate. So place rate is sort of when you place, like the chances that you place in the top 3, I think. Yeah, I think that's it. And placing top 3 essentially just means that you are in the green, in the money, for basically. The number of games, and then for the people that wants to even do more research, for the quote-unquote number geeks out there, myself included, we also have a page that you can even see, like out of the 44 games, right? How many of them falls under like the last 3 places? How many of them are fifth place? And you can even sort by other like different categories of competitions. So this is where for people that wants to do even more research, right? I want to see my horny has it has really good speed, but can I confirm that like out of all the speed races that he competed in, is it the 100-meter dash that like it has the highest win rate, or the 4,000-meter dash, right? So this is really just, as I mentioned, it's all about how can we package as much gamification aspect around an NFT as possible, and that's one of them. Growth, I'll talk about it at the very end. This is the concept of leveling up your hornies. We want to apply some type of training games that you can level up the hornies through some mobile games that you can play when you're commuting or just when you're bored, but that's not going to be part of beta 2, at least not yet. Okay, so after you see the bullpen, it's time to actually go to the play area. This poster really, I guess, showcase all the ideas for SuperBull. If you notice the 6 stats that we release, we try to make it so that SuperBull is not really a solely racing related games. We imagine SuperBull being a Olympic style ecosystem where we can continuously release different type of sports. And that's why we designed these core 6 stats: endurance, power, skill, intelligence, vertical, and speed. It's the fact that the way that we design the stats for the hornies, our motto is no hornies left behind, right? Even if there's a horny that has really bad stats overall, we try to make it so that there's always at least one stats that this guy was specialized in. And so you will know that there's a sports for this horny. Here, as you can see, this guy has, for example, this guy has high speed, maybe not that good in the stamina or endurance section. So intuitively, you would probably want to enter them into a 100-meter dash or short distance racing. So the core idea really in this part is intuition. It's about looking at your digital character stats and then by intuition determine what sport you should enter them into to maximize the winning rate. So I'll use racing as an example. Even in racing, we have two types of categories to start off. We have the short distance, we have the long distance, and as I said, right, that's when you can imagine if you have a horny that is maybe decent, like okay in speed, but really good in endurance, then probably 4,000 meter is what you want to go with. Something that I want to highlight, well, you can also filter by just some basic tools like for people to do, but something I want to highlight here is the idea of a prize structure. So for those that have played fantasy sports, fantasy basketball, fantasy football, we basically are inspired by their model, their revenue generating model, and their room. Each room has an entry fee. People enter them, pay the entry fee, and then the prize pot will get accumulated, right? So I'll use a 10 diamond entry fee room as an example. But as I mentioned, you can imagine diamond being, right, in the future, some type of tokens. Hopefully, our goal is to run this on ADA. So imagine you need to pay 10 diamonds. I'm going to enter them manually for now. So I'll enter a horny. Oh, by the way, feel free to ask any questions on Discord. I think Richard is monitoring that. So yeah, this page is for you to enter your bulls. You can see them one by one, but if you want to pick a specific one, you can come here and pick. I want to pick something that has high speed. This guy, for example, pretty good speed. This will cost me 10 S diamond, super diamond, but imagine this being running on actual ADA, right? Because that's the whole point. We want to use beta 2 to sort of paint the picture of our end goal of what SuperBull app would be. So let me enter. At this very instant, we do need to query the blockchain again to verify whether Joe123's address does own this specific horny. Once it does, then you can enter them, and as you can see, I pay a 10 diamond entry fee. So Joe123 is one of the contestants in lane number 1. I'm gonna use a hacky way to enter the 9 other contestants, but you can imagine in the real life situation, right? It's gonna be Joe123 and 9 other different users and their hornies. So yeah, 10 people, 10 diamond, that's 100 diamond in this room accumulated. The way the prize pot works is we give 5x for the first place, 2.5x for the second, 1.5 for the third. So adding these up, you can already sort of envision what the revenue model is. 100 diamond, we give out 90 in total. That means each room that we simulate, the platform takes a X% commission. In this case, we take 10%, but that number is definitely, of course, subject to change. So yeah, if we're running on actual ADA, That's how we envision the platform to be sustainable. You know, to us, we as I said, we see this as a company, and the whole point is really we want the company to be sustainable by the platform that we release, by the product that we created, and not by selling more NFTs to the public, right? Of course, there will be additional funding routes that might be needed here and there, but the ultimate goal is really to create a platform, in this case, SuperBull app, that's sustainable, and then at some point reach a point of profitability. So yeah, I think it's a perfect segue to talk about the simulation. If you guys remember, in beta 1, I mentioned that all the simulation is basically RNG, random number generated. Everybody has the same chance. But in beta 2, since we have the concept of stats is going to play a very important role. But also we sort of have to balance like a degree of skill versus a degree of luck. Imagine if you see a ball that has really high stats in a room and you know that you for sure is going to lose, you're just not going to play anymore. And so it's the idea that even the underdogs should have a chance of winning. That's the whole thing about sports, the whole thing about poker, for example, right? In poker, even the worst hand, like A2 offsuit versus king ace, for example, will still have some chance of winning. So that's the idea that we want to give. And so we did some research, we did a lot of trials, and at the end landed upon around like 60% based on skill. So a majority is still looking at the stats and how well you couple the stats with the respective sports, right? And then maybe 20 to 30% based on luck. So there is a degree of luck involved. But there's also the last 10%, 10 to 15% of what I personally call player-controlled randomness. So shout out to Crypto Heaps, actually. I was talking to him, and this idea of, in sports betting, in poker, in fantasy sports, every single player will feel like they have some sort of edge over the other players, even though they might not. And so to me, it's about how do I make the race more interesting prior to the simulation? Because if it's just plug in and wait for your ball, that's okay, but not as interesting, right? So how can I give the users that sense of control over their outcome, over their odds? And so we introduced this idea of a item. I am Joe123. I'm on lane number 1. What I can do is prior to the race begin, I can equip myself with a speed potion, for example. By the way, this is my inventory for this account. So let me equip something, refresh the page real quick. So yeah, as you can see, Joe123 equipped something. The point here is other people actually don't know what Joe123 equipped it. They just know there's an item, but they actually don't know what exact item he equipped it with. And that's the fun of it. The point about items is that because this is simulated sports, not real life sports, we can really add a bunch more, I guess, unrealistic stuff, but really fun and creative stuff into the mix. So an example that I can give is, imagine I'm on lane number 2. I see another user that has a ball that has super good stats, right? What I can do is, I might have an item called a stat swap. So what does this do? I'm not sure if you guys can see the subscripts, but give the user 10% chance of swapping the entire stats with an opponent. So basically swapping the entire stats before the race begins. So let me equip that. I'm gonna target lane number 3. Okay, equipping, refresh the page real quick. So yeah, I equipped an item that basically allowed me to have 10% chance of swapping stats. And what this guy can do, because the Kobe, right? Kobe knows that probably everybody's going to be targeting him. Either he can give himself some buff, but logically he'll probably want to apply some type of shields. So I'm going to equip a golden shield here. Then refresh it again. I'm just going to randomly equip all the other balls with some random item. Gravity gun. No, let's do a vertical pill. Okay. So at this stage, you can see some people equipped items, some people didn't. And the point is, when the simulation is about to begin, that's when people will finally see other people's items. And by that time, they cannot equip anymore. It's just waiting for the result, right? So let me set the room to ready. Yeah, setting the room to ready basically means the room is about to get started. That's when you can see like who's equipping what. And then the backend basically will have, I think for now, every 30 minutes, the rooms will get simulated. So I'm gonna kick that off manually. As I said, right, we take into account 60% based on skill and based on stats, 20-30% based on luck, and then a little bit based on the items. We're still balancing that, and in beta 2 it will give us some, like, probably once we have a lot more data, we can make some adjustments accordingly. And the idea in the future is for all of these to really run on a blockchain, to run on smart contracts, reward distribution, items, simulation, etc. But yeah, we have a result. In terms of the price payout, since all of these bulls are mine, all 90 S diamond, or imagine 90 ADA, will be going towards my internal wallet. So let's take a look. Yep, 180 diamond, and these are the winners. So now I want to highlight the simulation part. To me, there are, I guess, two core components in beta 2. One is really the compete and earn, right? It's doing your research, picking a good horny into a suitable sports, and then try to win something. That's one component. But the other component to me that's equally important is the idea of the simulated race, the animation itself. And this is actually came from a story that I read about this U.S. Sports bar. So back when there was, like, I think during the off season, the sports bar didn't have any sports to play on the television. So what they did is they actually play like Madden NFL games, just two AI simulated teams like going at each other, and then the audience, like people actually go and watch it. So that to me is super cool because it's really not about the actual real life players anymore. It's just about having attachments to like a team, having attachments to your NFT, for example, and then the ability to see it compete against other people, like actually compete. So right now, this is super simple. I really just coded like the cards running in a straight line, but our goal in the future is to partner with the people with proper skills. We have really good relationship with Unmaker, their Unmaker gaming branch. We've been talking to them for the longest time now, and the goal is really to make this animation part as engaging as possible, where it'll probably still be in 2D because the cards is 2D, right? But we can make it really engaging by allowing like effects, items, music, and all that good stuff. But for now, you can see a really simple simulation, and you can see the events. So remember the items that are equipped, potions, success rate, and then, you know, people try to nerf other people, and the Kobe tried to protect itself but failed, etc. So all of these are, to me, it's really fun because this adds a whole nother like community components into this, right? If I see Kuda, one of our community members, in lane number 10, I'm for sure gonna be targeting him, right? So like that type of idea. Shout out to Kuda. So let's go back to. Okay, I think it's a perfect time to talk about the in-game store. You might be asking like, where did the items came from? And this is where I want to stress the importance of the concept of game loop or game theory, because I see so many projects talking about games, but it's honestly super hard to come up with a good game. And the idea of a game loop is that every single action or every single page that I introduce needs to make sense. It needs to connect back full circle. So when we have the idea of entering via entry fee and then win something back, what can you do with that thing that you won, right? In this case, because it's an in-game currency, super diamond, super gold. Oh, by the way, all the participants can get super gold. So in this case, imagine this being our horn token, right? All the participants can get a horn token, and then that's when we can sort of decide how to expand the super ecosystem. But yeah, once you have the items, what can you do? Tokens, what can you do with them? So let me go to the not super store, the in-game store. In-game store is where you can purchase via your diamond, your gold, or in the future ADA and horn, some in-game items. In this case, some items are related to gameplay. Some like buffs, syringes, banana peel. A lot of these are, I guess, we're still in the process of coming up with a good name and like their effects and stuff like that. So we are open to any suggestions. I was on Cardano over coffee today, and they suggested some stuff. I have to go back and listen. But yeah, and then stat swap, shields, a lot of good stuff. But the one thing I want to highlight in the store section is the concept of a price machine. So it's imagine in a game, a lot of games have this mechanism in which you do have your coins, but there's a bunch of stuff that you want to get, but you cannot get them outright. You have to try your luck with the price machine. You have to spin it, and hopefully you can pull the one item that you want. So imagine I'm a new user, Joe123, just sign up for an account. I want to see what items I can get like this week or this season. I can click on the price poster. This is where maybe every week or every few weeks we'll update different prices. In this case, we're just using some dummy data, right? Gumball whitelist, 3% chance of pulling it, super pass, potions, tickets. But to me, this has so much potential because we can either collab with other project, we can have their whitelist, added into the machine, or we can even go and purchase NFTs, whitelist tokens ourselves and put it into the machine for people to get. And so imagine like Gumball, for example, the demand that Gumball is getting, how many people would be willing to participate in a SuperBull app just to get like the gold or the horn token, purchase a ticket. So let me try to purchase a ticket and then come here to spin the machine. Let's see what I got. Okay, I got a really bad item. But yeah, this is the core idea, right? It's about how can we add more fun into, I guess, letting you use your diamond, use your gold. And what's really fun about this, Gumball is not really a dummy data actually, because we do have plans for a Gloomless event that'll be utilizing this price machine. So imagine in your inventory, you have a bunch of items that are going to be used in-game. There's also going to be items that we call redeemable items that when you pull them, you can actually redeem them into real-life items. So shout out to the Gold Tribes. We love you guys. Using your NFT as an example, if somebody pulls a Gold Tribe NFT that we went and bought and put it into the machine, right? My account has a Gold Tribe NFT. I know this is a redeemable item because if I go to the redeem page, it shows that I have one item that I can redeem. Clicking into this will basically let's notify the backend saying we'll be notified that Joe123 tried to redeem a Gold Tribe NFT. The status is pending, but we can send them on the backend automatically, and then that's sort of how in Beta 2 we can translate in-game item into real-life prices. So yeah, that's the store. I think before we go into the intermission and do the giveaway, I will quickly go to mission. Like any other mission page in any other game, we can have a bunch of daily missions that you don't even need to compete. You can just log in and you can get some reward. This is where we can also collab with other projects to have their mission here. So just gave us a lot more fun stuff to do. We do have the leaderboard as well. If you remember in Beta 1, we have this tradition of, the Gold Tribe here is sort of a spoiler, but using the Hornies as an example, we have the idea of, we want to keep the tradition of weekly prizes in terms of the top 3 people getting some ADA. And so until our app is fully integrated into like Web3 tokens and stuff, we're going to be keeping this tradition. Like every week, the top 3 performers will get actual ADA, and hopefully we'll be continuing to do this as long as we can. So yeah, next up I will be talking about the SuperBull League, and before I do that, I think we have plans to do a giveaway. Let me go to the giveaway tab. Okay, so hopefully by now all of you that's listening have already interacted with our tweet on Twitter, because we're gonna be giving a alley list. Shout out to the Alley Cats, by the way. I was lucky enough to get on a call with them, and just a really nice group of guys. Also engineers, so shout out to that. How do I do this, by the way, Rich? Continue?
Yeah, continue.
Okay, so I'm gonna be pulling one winner. So hopefully it's someone inside this chat. And then?
Yeah, so continue again.
And then draw?
Yeah.
Alrighty. 284 entries. Let's see who wins. J.Look. Congrats, J.Look. I don't know if you're in the chat. I don't see you. Shout out to Lua. Rich, you can contact them via our
I'll
Twitter.
contact
Okay. So yeah, what else are we doing before I talk about SuperBull League? Just a reminder we do have one more alley list that we want to give out, and then a free horny that we want to give out. All you have to do is go to our Discord. I think the link is pinned to the chat. Join our Discord, go to the general page, and then just type the word showcase in all caps. And then Rich is going to be putting all of your names into some type of spinner to get a name at the very end. So yeah, make sure you do that. Congrats to J-Look. Okay, I'll spend the last 10 minutes talk about SuperBull League, because to me, this is really where the biggest potential of SuperBull app is. We sort of, before we even came up with the idea of SuperBull, we did a lot of market research, and one of the projects that we really look up to and inspired from is this project on Ethereum called Zrun. It's a Kentucky Derby horse racing type of games, and we try to do our research and take bits of the successful projects out there, what they're doing right, and try to see how we can implement them. So if you, as I show, right, the core model, the core revenue model, and how we intend to make this sustainable is to have we really need to have as much users as possible to be playing the games. And so user base potential, or the user base number, is the key for the application, for the platform. And we were sort of asking ourselves, right, the hornies right now, there are 5,000 in circulation. If we're lucky, if we're really lucky, out of the 5,000, maybe we have 2K holders, and out of that, let's say 10% will be actual players. That's really only 200 players. That's really not enough for a platform that's reliant on having users to play, and each rooms we take commissions from, right? And so the whole idea for the SuperBull League is, at the end of the day, SuperBull Beta 2 or the SuperBull app is really a platform. So I notice, in all industries actually, the companies or the project that are really successful out there are really the ones that have services that's catered towards everybody, right? Talking about like makers of the world, the CNFT tools of the world. It's when a new project that pops up, they for sure wants to have their services. And so our idea for the SuperBull app is, if we imagine we can have the ability to onboard any single projects out there, right? Each project that we onboard is one additional wave of users that will be introduced to the SuperBull ecosystem, that will be introduced to the hornies. And so that's sort of like that eureka, that click moments in our head, which is, we've already done private room racing in SuperBull Beta 1, where we allow other projects to race amongst themselves. So why not upgrade that idea? Why not come up with a SuperBull League, where in the league we have a bunch of teams, right? If we can introduce like the Yummy universe into the platform, that's basically, assuming there's no overlap. Of course there will be, but assuming no overlap, the ceiling will be 2.5k new users that's introduced to us. And then imagine if we onboard another project, the Gold Tribes, for example, that's another 2 point something k users. And so this is really how we envision the platform to grow. So let me go to the wallet page real quick. If you guys remember, once I sync my wallet, it actually not only tell me how many hornies I have, it also told me how many other projects I have, right? So I'll use the Naru Yami Universe as an example. Probably use Gold Tribe, Denkatsu, and Vampire as well. So imagine I am a Yami Universe enthusiast, And shout out to Adrian, Yummy Whale. So imagine I don't own any Hornies, but because I know from my community that the Yummy Universe is one of the founding teams of the SuperBull League. Again, I don't own any Hornies, but what I can do is I can come here, I can sign up for an account, I can go to the bullpen, pick on the Yummy Universe bullpen, and then see, exact, like the same feature that I show you using the Hornies. Everything I show you with the Hornies, you can do with the Yummy. So you can see the total winnings, win rate, the games. And if I go to the play section, again, right, imagine I don't own any Hornies, but I want to participate. I want to win some diamond. I want to pull the price machine. I can do that. I can enter, click on the Yummy, and then choose the one that I own. So I will, again, use a hacky way to enter 10 different NFTs just to paint like a clear picture of what I meant by the league. It's the idea that if you can see a room that is full of different NFTs, Gold Tribe competing against Ada Army, competing against Vampire Invasion, against Yummy, that to me that's super interesting because NBA or NFL, a league, is basically consists of different franchises, each one having their own dedicated fan base, each one having their own identity, their own, logos, etc. If you think about it, it's basically a project, right? Gold Tribe has their own dedicated fan base, their chants, their logos, etc. So at the very low level, SuperBull app in this room, for example, is still a PvP game. Joe123, I'm using a Gold Tribe to enter. I know I'm competing against 9 other different people, but that's at the lowest level, PvP. But introducing a league makes it so that I know that I'm using a Gold Tribe. If I win some S Diamond or I win some ADA, hopefully in the future, right? But if I know that at the same time I'm also accumulating points for my team, Gold Tribe, that really adds a whole new dynamic of project versus project. And what I meant by that is, let's go to the league page. Here you go. So Gold Tribe will be accumulating points via their users using ADA goats to play, right? Yummy will be accumulating points throughout the week. So if we can somehow make it, I'm a big fan of sports, so I like to take components of that. I think it's really fun. And if we can make SuperBull leagues into some type of sporting competition, we can introduce regular seasons where like each week we have head-to-head matchups. This week it might be Hornies versus the Vampires, and whoever has the most points will be 1-0, the other team will be 0-1, and then you progress through the season. At the very end, we'll have like a champion team, right, in season 1, and maybe they'll get airdropped some type of season 1 championship trophy NFT. And in the actual SuperBull app that hopefully will be integrated with tokens, we can even allocate like percentage of the prize pot dedicated for the SuperBull league. And so the point is, this really adds a whole new dynamic of project versus project. And I've said this phrase for like, I'm probably repeating myself to a lot of you, but it's the idea of turning that tribalistic nature of NFTs into a classic sporting rivalry. So everyone talk trash, everyone have fun. And if we ever incorporate smart contracts, that's when we can even have the Yummy universe hosting their own stadiums with their Yummy token, Gold Tribe using their grass token, and just all that good stuff. So yeah, that's really what I want to highlight in terms of the league. It's really, imagine the potential here, right? The whole point is, if we restrict it to the Hornies, that doesn't make the platform sustainable, and it's not fun, in my opinion, right? If you can compete repping your team at the same time and earn something, that's, to me, that's a lot more fun. And you might be asking, if the Naru or if a Denketsu NFT can do everything that a Horny can do, what's special about Hornies anymore? And some of you might have noticed, in Beta 2 at least, we do try to sort of sprinkle in some fun stuff that will incentivize people to at least hold a Horny or just to get to know our project. And one of that is, all the participants get gold, 2 golds, but if you use a Horny to participate, you might be able to get more. So in the case where, imagine we have a Gumball whitelist event in which you want to get as many gold as possible to try to pull the machine, during that five days event, you might want to use your Horny instead of a project that you want to rep with, just because you can get more rewards based off that. Or let's go to the store. We do sprinkle in stuff such as inside store, right? If you want to buy better items with the same price by just holding one Horny. So this is the case where you still don't want to use a Horny to play, but just holding one will unlock you some better items that you can buy. Or here, just holding a Horny give you better luck in pulling a item. So we'll probably be implementing this during the Gumball whitelist, and we'll be opening up the entire app to like all the project that you just see. So they'll be participating, and if they want to have better luck of pulling something, chances are they'll want to hold a Horny in their wallet to have that access. But that's honestly just beta 2. I wrote a tweet, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, about Hornies being our Genesis collection. It is what has taken us here, right? Our goal for this is really to take SuperBull to the next level, and we're going to be taking care of the Hornies, like no matter what. Everything that we roll out will be Hornies will be the one that's going to be first in our minds when it comes to that. And I can tell you our goals for the SuperBull League, and hopefully you guys have seen the potential of like how big this can become. The goal for Hornies in terms of the SuperBull League is that they will be rewarded based on the success of the SuperBull League. And this to me makes sense. I gave some hints in different spaces, so I won't talk about it here since this is recorded, but we have a really good plan, and I will tell you that Hornies are nowhere close to our end vision of what they can become. Like the potential is huge. And let's see what else. I guess the idea that as the SuperBull League expand, Hornies will get rewarded, it makes sense to me, because imagine a Horny holder that has 200 Hornies, for example. They are a whale. Shout out to AJ Goldman, shout out to Mori. A lot of these type of people, they won't be the one that will be playing in the games every single day, right? They won't be entering 200 different rooms, but they will still be rooting for the success of the SuperBull League. They will be rooting for the league expansion, because they know that as the league expand, Hornies are the one that's gonna get rewarded. And our goal for the SuperBull League, at least at the very moment, I'm the one that's talking to project, pitching them about this idea, inviting them to join. But eventually, we want it to be established so that when a new project comes out, their community members will be the one that ask their founders to, apply for the next SuperBull League expansion type of ideas. And that's when we can even have like franchising fees that will get distributed amongst the founding teams, etc. So, speaking of founding teams, all of the ones you see here, I'm so happy to say that I've talked to their leadership. All of them are already on board to be part of SuperBull League. Another team that is not here yet because they haven't minted is the Alley Cats. Taylor, Tyler, Benny, all of them are super nice, and they've already told us that they want to be a part of this. So we have already a really good core, set of founding teams to start off with. So to me, this will be really big, and we're gonna work our way up to eventually incorporating smart contracts to make all that really creative stuff happen. So yeah, I definitely have gone way over time, so I'll quickly talk about, because this is really all the demo. We do have a lot of different pages, such as the referral page, the account page, but once we release this, you guys can play around with that. But just to talk about our plans coming up in 2023, I mentioned that we're going to be setting up companies. Our goal is to set up something in Taiwan. It will give us a lot more flexibility when it comes to regulations, etc. Another thing that's super exciting is, as I mentioned, we're going to be partnering up with Maker Gaming, the gaming branch of Maker Studio. They are super excited to have SuperBull on board, and we believe that with them besides us, we can take SuperBull to the next level. I'm talking about token integrations, I'm talking about smart contracts and SuperBull League stadiums, away games, home games, and a lot of those good stuff. And then lastly, let's see if I can go back to the landing page, because I want to highlight the Oxys. Oxys is work in progress. It's been work in progress for the longest time now, but just to let you guys know, we do have something that's going to be coming up probably in Q2. All you need to know is if you hold 3 hornies, you're for sure getting one free oxy. So it's gonna be deterministic. If you hold 6, you're getting 2. If you hold 9, you're getting 3. So make sure if you have more than one, make sure your number is in the multiple of 3s. And we have a lot of plans for the oxys. Just to name a few, we want to make it 3D modelable, so you can imagine how we want to play like into like the whole super ecosystem in the future. We want to introduce on-chain and off-chain staking, and of course we want to make the oxys, because the hornies are not really meant for PFP. We want the oxys to be the one that people will be proud to, you know, rep with. And lastly, before Rich take over and do the giveaway, just want to highlight the Gunbo whitelist events that's going to be coming up. So let's go to the store. I think on January 27th is when the first Gunbo whitelist will the whole event will happen. So it's going to be a span of 5 days. That's when you can sign up to the site. You can use your horny, you can use your Nami, Yami, Denketsu, Vampire Invasion to compete, try to pull whitelist. I don't know how many people will be participating, but we're going to be giving out 30 whitelist. So I'm pretty sure that will be the very last event that Farmer Nash will hold. So hopefully, if you have not gotten yourself a whitelist yet, this will be your chance to do that. We're going to be adding a Discord bot on our general chat, actually, that will announce, like, Papa Joe just pulled a Gunbo whitelist, and then people can congratulate him and etc. But yeah, that's pretty much it for all the demos. Let's see what else I have in my notes. No, that's pretty much it. Let's go to the giveaway segment.
Alright, let me send you the wheel.
Alright. So Richard has already put all the names into a wheel. We're gonna spin it. The first name will be the alley list winner, and the second name will be the free horny. Shout out to Kuda. I'm looking at the chat right now. Shout out to Demos. We gotta hop on a call sometime. Wow, there's a lot of people here. Nice. Have you sent?
For sure. I am about to send to you. Alright, go there.
Yep.
Use that.
Click this, right?
Yeah, and then you can just drag that onto the.
Okay.
Here. It's gonna replace the window though. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Can I just do it like this?
Yeah. Or you make the window bigger.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, wow, there's actually a lot of names here. Or are they duplicates?
No, I
No?
got rid of duplicates.
Damn, okay. So, let's go. The first one will be for the alley list. They're going to be minting really soon, so maybe this might be your last time to get them. And I can tell you, you definitely want to mint the alley cats. Do I just click?
Yeah.
Okay. Pressing it now. God, I hope it's Kuda. Okay, happy little fella. Congrats. You might be someone new. I don't recognize this name, but Rich will be in touch. And then, do I remove him?
Are you gonna spin it again?
Yeah, for the hornies.
Oh, I thought you were just gonna pick someone there.
No,
Okay.
this. Yeah. Okay, so I'll remove you. So this is for the free horny. I'll probably pick something good from my own wallet, so it's not a really. So it's gonna be a good one. Ooh. So bad. Congrats, so bad. Rich will be in touch as well. You probably just need to send us your wallet and we'll send it over. And yeah, what time is it right now?
11.
Okay, that's pretty much it. Just a few closing remarks. This is by no means a production level, keynotes. We really just want to try something different. I don't know why not many projects is doing this. To me, the best thing about starting up a company or starting up a project in Web3 is how close we can get with the community, and we just want to try this, and hopefully hopefully this will be the first of many, and hopefully, say in 2 years from now, you guys will see my improvements on these type of keynotes. And if you're new, welcome to SuperBull. We are really a group of passionate devs that wanted to build something really special here. Cardano is the chain that I love the most. I'm sort of a maxi. It's sort of also my self-interest to, you know, leave some type of legacy, something I'm proud of on this blockchain. And so we're not going anywhere. We have a plan to take SuperBull to a really good place, and this is so far, you know, not even close to that yet. So if you're looking to join a community, that for sure is going to be here, you know, for a long time, and the one that will keep you posted, the one that is all about utility, all about, you know, delivering value. Definitely join the family. Try to say hi. I'm pretty sure everybody is super welcome. And yeah, this is so different from a tourist space that it's kind of scary. Let's see what else I have. Honestly, that's pretty much it. Just look, stay tuned for the Goomless poster. We're going to be announcing the Goomless event probably starting this Monday, and might open up registration early so that you can sign up for an account, sync your wallet, etc. But just make sure you follow us, and you know we'll keep you guys posted. And that's pretty much it. We'll continue to build beta 2, and then eventually release testing, probably to our OG members first, but the goal is the Goombo whitelist will be the first testing, and then mid-February we'll have like the actual alpha testing for the full version of the app. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for listening, and do we have any questions, by the way?
Yes, we have.
Can we just do like 3 questions?
Yeah, well, I have 2 already because I answered some of them.
Okay.
So the first one, a bit easy. What do you use to buy the equipment?
Okay, good question. So I'll talk about beta 2 for now, because buying equipment in beta 2 is really just the in-game currencies, right? As you see, you use Super Diamond to enter into races. You win Diamond when you win, but you also win Gold when you just participate. And so there are some items that you can use Gold to buy, but there are some that you have to use Diamond. But always try to imagine Diamond and Gold being like the ADA and Horn token pair, because that's our end goal, right? It's to be able to use ADA, to be able to use Horn in some sort of fashion. But for now, in beta 2, it's just the in-game currencies. We'll probably be doing some tweaks here and there in terms of like how much Diamond you can buy for different stuff. So a lot of these that you see right now are subject to change, of course. Next question.
And then we got another one, which is, will the other projects NFTs in the league have stats like Hornies?
Really good question. Shout out to whoever asked that. That's the goal. So we have a really comprehensive, you know, algorithm that can translate the Hornies metadata into a specific core set of stats, right? And the goal is really, when we onboard a new project, I'll use Mallards, for example, because shout out to Demos. Imagine the goal is when the Mallards, when they're in the platform, we're gonna add them into the site to be playable first. But the next core step is for us, or for Richard, who's developing the stats, right, to talk to their leadership, talk to them about whether they have any ideas about, you know, if they want some specific traits to be tied up to specific stats, or maybe they can just tell us to go with the CNFT tour rankings. But the goal is, right, we're going to come up with a good algorithm to translate the Hornies existing stats into the Mallards or into the GOAT stats, so all of them are compatible and balanced. Do you want one more question?
Yeah, one more last question. Will the Oxys mint be public, and when will it be?
So timeline-wise, we are we like to take our time when it comes to a lot of stuff, and Oxys, because we've been focused so much on development side of things, we don't really have a exact date for the Oxys yet. But I would say it will be in either end of Q1 or early Q2 of this year. And what's the other side of question? The public mint?
Yeah, will it be public?
Yeah, it will be public mint, and so we already decided to allocate a significant chunk just for the Horny holders, so those will get airdrop for free as I said, every 3 horny you own, you're gonna get 1 free Oxy, and then the rest, depending on the end, you know, the numbers that we decided with JPEG Store about the whole collection number, the rest will be for probably some for whitelist mints, and then the rest be public mint. So there's definitely gonna be public mint as well. But yeah, that's it, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna be closing up the stream once again. Thank you to everyone here. This is something new to us, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys around in our Discord. See ya.